really all of my favorite directors. And coincidentally, they're all the ones who have hired me multiple times, Sam and Jason and Damien and the brothers. It's great to be to have been doing this long enough that often there are familiar faces I get to do it with again.
How do you live with yourself?
How do you?
Oz was the first original drama on HBO or on any paid cable. Really, really a truly groundbreaking show with a fantastic cast and that constantly expanded during the course of the run. Yeah, that's something that I look back on with great pride, and I feel really good about the work we all did, and that was a big sort of launching pad for a lot of careers, including mine. When I first met with Tom about doing the show, I was already, and I was from hunger. I mean, I was so amazed that they were asking me to do this show, but at the same time, I was scared of it because I realized, as you said, I could have been the Nazi of the week on every TV show for the rest of my life, and that's it. That's my career. So I was a little reticent. And Tom, God bless him, what a fantastic guy. He made me the handshake deal. He said, "Look, just sign the contract, take the money," and he said, "And if you ever want out, just tell me, and I'll kill you off. It's easy to do." He took that off time on this show. He finally did kill me off, but not until the last episode.
He's a criminal. That's who he is. A vigilante. A public menace. What's he doing on my front page?
Mr. Jameson, your wife is on line 1. She needs to know if you...
Mr. Jameson, this is a page 6 problem.
We have a page 1 problem. Shut up.
She just needs to know if you want the chintz or the chenille in the dining room.
Whichever one's cheaper. Sold out?
Every copy.
Tomorrow morning, Spider-Man, page 1 with a decent picture this time. Move Conway to page 7.
There's a problem with page 7.
And make it page 8 and give him 10% off. And make it 5%.
That can't be done.
Get out of here.
I love that you said comic book accurate. Thank you for that, because that was exactly what I wanted to do with JJJ. He seemed like as much or more than any character in those movies, like the guy who really needs to just jump straight off the pages of the comic strip. Yeah, and that was always my goal. I had done Sam's 2 previous movies too, For Love of the Game and The Gift, and then the Spider-Man trilogy. We had a nice run there with 5 in a row. He just has such a great way about him, and without ever needing to sort of exert any, I'm the director, I'm the boss vibes. He's just such a sweetheart of a guy. But in the first one that I did in the Tom Holland era, they ended up asking me to do it, and like 2 days later, we were shooting in somebody's office on the lot. I mean, they didn't even have time to build a set. Just like during the editing process, they went, "Hey, what if we had a little commentary from good old JJJ in here?"
Just tell him. I'm pregnant.
Who was the father?
It's Polly Bleeker.
Polly Bleeker? I didn't think he had it in him.
I know, right?
Did you see that coming?
Yeah, but I was hoping she was expelled or into hard drugs.
Or a DWI? Anything but this.
Diablo Cody, who wrote such a great world, the unique vernacular that those characters used, especially the younger characters. The money people wanted, big stars, and they wanted a pop star to play Juno. It was an absolute joy, and I became a father, relatively late. I was 36. I did have a daughter when we were shooting Juno, but she was nowhere near a teenager. But I think those monumental, life-changing experiences like having kids really inform your work from that point on for the rest of your life. So the scene where Juno, sits the parents down, her father and stepmother, and says that she's pregnant. The way it's scripted, it could be an angry response on Mac's part, but without changing a word of the script, it just really struck me as a more of a heartbreaking for him, and the realization that not only is your kid growing up, but but how difficult this is going to be for her, regardless of what the decision ends up being. That scene with Elliot and Allison and Olivia was one of my favorite days on a movie set.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't fucking know either. I guess we learned not to do it again.
Yes, sir.
I'm fucked if I know what we did.
Yes, sir. It's hard to say.
In Burn After Reading, every syllable out of my mouth is exactly what they put on the page. They just put the ball on a tee, for David Rashi and me to, knock it out of the park in that last scene. That is by far the most bang for the buck. I think I'm on screen for, 5 or 6 minutes in that movie. You don't mess with their words, because they're so specific. They were such a two-headed genius monster when they were writing and directing together. It's so specific. By the time they have the production draft ready, they know how they're going to edit everything and what the score is going to be and all that. So in the 2.5 movies I did with them, I managed to change one word in one film, and I was so proud, patting myself on the back over having another idea and having them actually look at each other and go, yeah, all right.
Little trouble there. You're rushing. Here we go. 5, 6, and. Were you rushing or were you dragging?
I don't know.
If you deliberately sabotage my band, I will gut you like a pig. Oh, my dear God. Are you one of those single-tier people?
There was no thought on my part of, where does this fit in the lexicon of film history and these, complex, quote unquote bad guy characters. It was a very straightforward case of trying to take the genius that Damien put on the page and just bring it to life. And it was one of those that as I read it, and there are a handful over the years, some of them, theater pieces that were seen by hundreds, and some of them movies, where I read a script, recognized true brilliance and like felt a complete understanding of the character and where he was coming from, and I could see and hear myself being that guy. And Whiplash was obviously a lot of great memories there, and and getting to play those scenes with Miles with that same kind of freedom. I mean the specificity of Damien's dialogue was so great, and those profane rants and all of that was beautifully, specifically scripted. But he also gave us the freedom to do our own thing. 5% of what you see in the movie is stuff that Miles and I just threw into each other's faces on the day.
I have come to this building every day and done my job. 3 decades I've given to this office. But honestly, sometimes it scares me. I don't know what we do here.
In the wake of Whiplash, all those kinds of offers were coming along to be, number one on the call sheet. And, our kids were in middle school, and I just really didn't want to put in those kinds of hours. So when we met to talk about doing Counterpart, I was pretty sure that I would not end up doing it, because I was going to talk my way out of it. I was going to say, I don't want to be number one and number 1A, in that case, you're playing 2 versions of the same guy. They were also originally planning to shoot the whole thing in Eastern Europe. And I was like, I'm not doing that, because I got kids at home. But, one by one, Justin talked me out of my qualms about it. And it was frustrating because people didn't see it. So for all of us, it was a bit frustrating in that way. But I think more people saw that show during the pandemic because it was kind of prescient in that way than did when it originally aired. I'm very proud of that work and what the world that Justin created.
The last thing you want is me with nothing left to say.
I like to be fooled. I like to be, a step behind the plot, and I like to just watch great actors create great characters. The part of the storytelling process that I take the most joy in.